Welcome to the Weekly Collective, everybody. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see you. First and foremost, I hope everybody's doing well. And as we're getting ready for today's reading, just a couple of quick notes. First of all, this is for everybody that needs it. We're going to cover a lot of different topics today, starting with some channeled messages coming straight from Spirit and Source. And then we'll get into a special topic, which appropriately enough is going to be how to sort of turn a new page in this new moon. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let me see if I can get Apollo up here on the main camera. He's chilling out, wishing you a lot of love and light. Myself as well, great to see you, like I said. And what I'd like to do here is tune into channeled messages coming straight from Spirit and Source. All right. So I was tuning into them right before we got started here, and this is what came through. So the first thing that I was picking up on was this idea of limited thoughts. What Spirit conveyed was the message, like some of you might be feeling like there's no way out or like there's a roadblock in front of you. So when we have that thought that I can't find a way through this or I'm not going to be able to make this work, it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I would encourage you in this moment in time to think about like what else you can put your time and energy into, where you might put the focus. Because sometimes a block is the universe inviting us to look beyond the moment, one of the topic choices. And so if we put all of our energy into thinking, I'm not getting what I want, we may not be looking at what we need or what is beyond what our desires are. There might be something that exceeds your expectations, but it may not be coming in the shape, form, or direction that you anticipated. So oftentimes a block, a mental block, this isn't happening, this won't happen, I'm stuck, becomes self-perpetuating. So let's not let it be that. Instead, ask yourself, what else can I do? What else is open? Where else should I be focusing? Okay, that's message number one. The other thing, as I was tuning in right here, right now, I saw a rubber band and I focused on the energy of it snapping. And what I got from this is about like, there's been so many messages around communication. There's more today. If you're feeling tension or tense or frustrated, please take a minute. Take as much time as you need, because that snapping is kind of like a turtle or like an alligator. It's going to find its way into the communication. So I'm not getting so much like you're going to get sick or you're going to, no, it's more like you'll get impatient, and the impatience is going to not be a productive sort of energy to tap into. So give yourself enough time to get into a neutral state so that you can see things clearly and that you don't immediately react. Sometimes it feels good to say what you want to say, but oftentimes later you think, gosh, I could have framed that a lot better. So more messages around communication. If you're stretched too thin, say no to some things, invitations, obligations, etc., and redirect your energy towards self-care, okay? I also was doing a quick scan of the chakras, and the one that came through for the collective, where most of you might be sort of sitting heavily, is the heart space. And for any number of reasons, this could be just self-love, because today's message was the Five of Pentacles if you watched the daily card pull. So some of you might just be dealing with accepting, loving, forgiving yourself. These seem like easy things, but they're not. It's hard to forgive yourself. It's hard to accept yourself. And give yourself some time today to just celebrate the fact that you made it to another day, you made it through another challenge, and that this is how I get through difficult times. If you get up every day and just clear the slate, one of those days is going to be amazing. It's just a statistical odd in your favor. Not every day can be challenging. It just doesn't work out that way. Good news, challenging news, it just balances out typically over time. And sometimes we go through a series of challenges, but then we also have like a series of blessings down the road. So it's more about recalibrating, opening your heart up to receive something better. And again, I think this can work in tandem with the closed mind energy. And then the last thing here is like clearing and holding space in your life. So one thing that can help if you're going through some challenges is to clean or to clear. Because you're actually letting go of energy when you release things in your life. donating, recycling, trashing as necessary, and then just sort of like literally clearing the space. And there's different types of cleaning. So when we clean physically, like scrubbing down a surface, removing, cobwebs and items that we don't need, we also want to clear and cleanse spiritually. So sage, smudging, incense, anything that you want to do to also clear the air and clear the energy, and blessing the space, closing your eyes and even just mentally sweeping it with light. You can do that. You don't even need anything like incense or sage. So there are numerous ways to create that clearing and then just hold space for something better. Okay, those are your channeled messages for today. Before we begin, if you enjoy this, it's easy, and I know you probably get sick of hearing it, but it helps a lot. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video so that I can reach some other people that might be interested in this kind of work. You can show your love and support today through super stickers and super chat. And by the way, I set a goal for us, and if we meet it, then I will possibly look at either something in the flow or, maybe I'll just see what vibes well with what we're talking about. And I just gave an example of how you can give back. I just shared a few gifted subscriptions to people, so I hope you enjoy that. You can also learn more about me on my website and follow me later on social media. Let's not do that now since we have a lot to talk about. I'd like to get first into a 7-day forecast for today. And this is going to, for this week, I should say, this is going to help us navigate the twists and turns in the week ahead before we get into the special topic. Okay, so let me see which deck is calling to us. I think I might use, actually, since we'll use this one. Just in case you are bringing some energy into today, as I get this set up here, I'd like you to clear your mind a little bit. So whatever you might have brought in, whether it was fear, anxiety, frustration, or joy, let's just let it go so that we can more accurately read the energy. Imagine that the sun is shining down on you. Sweep a circle of light around your body and welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. Let's see if I can get a little bit more in here. Need a bigger desk. Okay. Good enough. Okay, so we're going to start off with the energy for today, this Sunday. And for this Sunday here, we have the King of Pentacles, a lone wolf in this particular deck, in the reverse position, howling at the moon. So for some of you, there is called into question path, like career path, living situation, moving in, moving out, moving up, something around stability is called into question here. And more specifically, are you committed to, are you in or are you out of something bigger in your life? Again, it could be as big as what you do for a living, your job or your sort of soul path. What's your impact? What's your goal? What is it that you're putting your time and energy into? The reversed King of Pentacles invests in himself, which was something that I talked about in the daily card pull as well. So investment isn't just money, it's time and energy. So this would be a great day for finding things that give you support. It could be faith-based, it could be community-based, it could be family or friends, and any combination thereof. Rather than sort of doing things that deplete the battery, do things that recharge the battery. You may also be looking at actual tangible resources and saying, I want to invest in myself. And so this can include education or anything that you might be doing to kind of better yourself. Do pay close attention to not overworking or overdoing things. This can be a card of indulgence when reversed, like I'm going to spend a lot or eat a lot or work a lot. And basically moderation is your friend. But I do think it's a great day to treat yourself and take care of yourself, just again, within reason. And some of you might be looking for connection. Wolves like to be in a pack. They don't like to be a lone wolf. And so the fact that we're seeing this wolf calling in other energy means that today could be a great day for connection with loved ones, okay? Any type of connection is fine. All right, Let's see how the week kicks off. It's pretty darn good here. We have the Four of Wands. Speaking of partnership, this is one of the more elevated cards. So on Monday, if you want to have a date, meet up with a friend, have an important meeting at work, or simply get out there and mix and mingle, yes, yes, yes. You know, they do have the word celebration, and this can be connected to things like a wedding or a gathering. I would more typically put like 3 of Cups or 10 of Cups with a celebration, but it works with this too. This is with BFFs though, your besties, because the Four of Wands are people that really have your back through thick and through thin. So whoever falls into that court, Monday's a good day to connect with them. If you want to make a deal or have a negotiation, Four of Wands is one of the more favorable cards because it represents 2 people that have the same goals in mind. So this is a great day for negotiation, to get strategic and to deepen or even explore the depth of existing relationships. Okay? Great energy, great way to kick off the week. We welcome that. Let's see what's coming through on Tuesday. Also very good. So we can see the new moon energy coming through this week, and many of you have planted the seeds of intention and they seem to be coming through. 6 of Wands, abundance, but also success. What's interesting about this 6 of Wands is the table is set, but nobody's there. Or in this case, the hearth is set, but no one's there. So success is not always about immediate gratification. It's about creating a path, a momentum, a trajectory that is going to eventually lead to that celebration and that great moment of success. But it's saying continue to follow through on plans and goals. You're setting the stage. And the abundance is incoming. It just may not be recognized or apparent to you. It's beneath the surface. It's around you. It's on the horizon. That being said, Tuesday is also a great day to get strategic in your life, even more so than on Monday. You don't have to do it with other people. That's the difference here with the 6 of Wands. It is a public-facing card. So if you need to step into a large public arena or put yourself out there or announce something or launch something, great day for that. But you can also, on your own, in quiet, independently, just work on things that are going to basically feed that future success. So you're planting a lot of seeds. You're a cosmic gardener on Tuesday, and that is going to be a fruitful garden, not just through this week, but ostensibly through the rest of this month. So great day to get work done, to set a goal, to launch something, to announce something, to meet with someone. Take everything I said on Monday and multiply it. And this is a great day for all of that as well. Okay, but it's not specifically a people card or even like a public-facing card. It's just saying whatever you put your energy into, you can see a great return on it. Now we have a recalibrating card because we need balance. So in the middle of the week, we have the 3 of Swords. Interestingly enough, 4 of Wands, partnership, success, community, 6 of Wands, success. And this card is showing jealousy. It may not even be you. There could be someone that takes a cheap shot. That's what we see. There are arrows that have been sent out into the universe. And there are people that sometimes have a difficult time with seeing people around them being successful. Shame on them. But it really speaks more to their own insecurities than anything that you might have said or done. So if anyone throws an arrow or a stone in your direction, take it with a grain of salt and redirect. That's really not about you. It's more about them. And it's also a clarifying point. It's like, I don't really need to invest in or worry about this person anymore. It's not worth your time and energy, folks. If it is something that you're feeling, like a disappointment, some sadness, or just this feeling of malaise, it's okay. For many of you, you're just recalibrating and deciding, like sometimes knowing what you don't want is just as important as knowing what you want. And sometimes having a setback or a day where you're feeling a little bit blue or moody, it's context. And when things are better, you appreciate them even more. It doesn't make the feeling easier, but it helps to know that this too shall pass. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself in the moment. Talk to someone, rest, get the support that you need, okay? Also, don't overdo it when it comes to exercise or work. Diminishing returns or possibly even fatigue can set in here. Okay? As we take a look at Thursday, a little bit of a perspective shift is happening, but still it's sort of like, I would rather not be here. That's usually what 4 of Cups is. This one takes a different approach on it, which is boredom. And sometimes when we're bored, we miss opportunities. Just to compare and contrast, because I like to do that sometimes, if we look at the traditional card, you can see that the universe is floating an ace, another idea in front of you. Both of them are bored. He's bored or disillusioned or just disconnected. She's just very clearly not even in the vicinity of seeing the other cup. It might be something that's just out of sight. So one of the things that I was mentioning this week is that some of the opportunities may not be readily apparent or available to you. You have to reach a little bit, but it's there. This is just encouraging you to do just that. Also, things are better than you think. The grass is always greener when you look at someone else's life, but you don't necessarily know how they feel or how hard they worked, or if you would even like being in their shoes. So sit in your own shoes for a moment and look and see if there is something that's ripe for the picking, but you're missing it because of being busy, bored, disillusioned, etc. By the way, boredom is a gift. When we are bored, we wonder. And when we wonder, we wander. And when we wander, we find something different. Boredom is the universe saying, this isn't it. This job, this relationship, the situation, there's something more. Or you need to go deeper and look within, like, why are you doing this? Because if it's not filling up the tank, if it's not fulfilling, you might be looking at the wrong thing. It's a chance to reorient your compass. And one thing, we don't get bored enough anymore. I talked about this during the last collective because of all of the devices that we have around us, constantly kind of keeping us tuned in and distracted. Back in the 90s, when there wasn't as much connectivity until like the mid 90s, let's go even further back, like in the 80s, you had computers, but they weren't networked. You had phones, but they weren't smart. And there was no internet to speak of. There was like in like governments and institutions, but like the general public didn't have access to it. So when you took a walk, you took a walk. When you were out in nature, there was nothing distracting you. And not many people had cell phones in the 80s, maybe pagers. Cell phones became more prevalent in the 90s and early aughts, but there was a chance for your mind to just think about stuff. You could dream, you could get bored, you could ask questions, and you couldn't get the immediate answers. You'd have to go and ask someone or go to the library, God help us, or look up something in an encyclopedia. I don't miss that, to be honest. But I do miss the ability to get like a big question or thought and think, I need to do something about this. Because now the notifications, the knocking of the door, like there's so many things that take us away from the moment. So eliminate some of those distractions and ask yourself, why am I bored and what am I missing? Okay? If you feel that. Moving onward. As we take a look at Friday, we have what feels like something big, but it's not as big as it seems. So this deck takes a different view of the devil. They even call it the guardian. So sometimes everyone has a skeleton in their closet that's coming out here, but the devil comes through to kind of wink and nod and say, is this really what you want to do? So if there's a temptation, this isn't even one of the like attractive devil cards. It's going to look, you'll know that you shouldn't do something. Listen to your conscience, listen to that voice that says, I think this isn't worth it. If there's a contract in front of you and it's asking too much, this is coming through and saying, you might be giving up more than you think. Look at the bones of the contract. Look at the fine print. And a deal with El Diablo is never a good deal. You never win with that energy. So say no. If there's someone in your life that can't give you what you need, can't show up the way that you need them to, or just is unavailable, they're showing their true colors and move in a new direction. I love the line from Mean Girls where the answer to like an important question at a mathalon, I can't remember what it was called, but like it was, there is no limit. And I like that because the devil card is all about limits. They were mathletes, athletes. I can't remember what the tournament name was, but anyway, she was flaking because she was distracted talking about like the previous day. And then she had to go back beyond the distraction and look at the blackboard. And then she was like, oh, I remember there's no limit. The devil wants you to think that there's a limit, but there is. The limit that's in front of you isn't the block. It's there to guard and protect you. So if there is someone that can't give you something or rejects you, That rejection is protection. That limit is actually just to help you find something that is unlimited. The devil is about conditions, control, and something that isn't enough, and you deserve more than that. And so your guides are guarding you from going down that path, okay? So Friday, be discerning and don't commit to something unless you really want to, and if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. The devil card is not to be feared, but it is to be respected because it shows us something that we need to look at. Okay, as we take a look at next Saturday or this upcoming Saturday, a little bit of a delay in moving forward, but the movement will happen no matter what. So the Six of Swords represents moving on, sometimes moving up, traveling, transitioning, just as this caption said. But there's resistance to change and resistance to movement. Some of you are just afraid because I'm looking at the devil from the day before, or some of you are afraid of repeating history. You don't have to repeat history, but this is a day to just ask yourself, if not now, then when, and if not this, then what? Because something needs to move and something needs to change. If you're traveling, get travel insurance. You might have an unexpected delay or a detour. And in life, the same might be true, but it's not going to end the journey. It's not going to stop the journey. It's a twist and a turn along the way. And don't let a delay sort of like take you out of your momentum or headspace. Some of you might have to take a step backward and fix something first. It's kind of like if your car has a flat tire, you pull over, you fix it, you lose half an hour or an hour depending on what's going on, and then you get back on the road. It's not an end of the journey, but that's kind of what I get is flat tire energy. So just breathe through it. If for any of you that have missed a connecting flight through no fault of your own or through, just sleeping in, that you just get the next flight. You go to a hotel. Sometimes it's covered if it was an airline's fault or if you have travel insurance, but you make your next connecting flight. That's all this is. It's a day to figure out, okay, that was unexpected. Let's just be flexible, okay? All right, looking now at the energy of next Sunday, we have two cards that stuck together. Let's discuss. So we have Page of Cups in the reverse position first. Some of you just have to release some heavier emotions. And before you communicate, this is where the rubber band snapping came through. We don't want you to snap verbally and say something you don't mean. So say no, take some space, take some time, meditate, vent to someone that you can trust so that when you have to have an important conversation, it doesn't have a sting to it. And then we have a beautiful card beneath it. That is just, again, an emotional trigger, but then Eight of Wands. It's so interesting because what we're really seeing is the other side of the Six of Wands. Here's the hearth fire with everything set up, but it doesn't actually come into play until Sunday. So you're setting the stage on Tuesday. You have a couple of twists and turns coming through Friday and Saturday, but then everything starts to, it's a payoff here on the weekend. I was showing the wrong card. So Eight of Wands, things are set into motion. Things start to continue to maintain that momentum. And by the way, you don't have to do it alone. This is one of 2 or 3 decks that I have that shows the community aspect of it. Don't get lost in the shuffle. Connect with others, check in with others, and delegate and cooperate and collaborate with others. And make some time for friends and family. This is a bigger gathering too. But typically with this, it's something that's more professional or collaborative. It's not just a random gathering. I like what I see here. All right, let's take a look at the highlights and the challenges for this week before we dip into the elements. Okay, so highlights. I would say Monday and Tuesday are 2 of the best days of the week, and there's really no modifications needed there. So the week is going to kick off in a really good way. I think the challenges, probably Wednesday and Friday. The rest of the week is great for the most part and manageable. And there's a surprise twist or turn that comes through this upcoming Sunday. It feels heavy at first, and then you kind of find your pacing. Okay? Now we're going to move into the elemental portion of this forecast, which will give us a nice quick pulse check for everybody. By the way, as I read a couple of notes where maybe not everyone saw the community post. So what I've decided to do, and it does relate to this because we're going to be looking at all of the elements here, but I think I might do on Monday a mid-month checkpoint, but in one video for every sign, just to give you all something this month. And then the rest of this week, I'm focusing on June. So due to life, basically, I've just had to not do May in its normal format, but I'll do maybe like a 1-hour video where I touch every sign briefly, maybe for like 5 to 7 minutes, and then you can get everything you need there, sun, rising, and moon. You'll still get something this month, and then we'll just skip straight to the next month this week, so you can start getting those in a more timely fashion. Reason being, I need to move in 2 weeks, and I just moved into here like a month ago because there's some transitions happening with my my living situation because, like I said, there was water damage, mold, my furniture was damaged, so I need to move into basically a month-to-month rental until I figure out where I'm going next. More on that later, but that's the life update for me. I appreciate everyone's understanding. This is a period where I was like, I got to take care of myself. So, and I'm probably looking at bigger moves down the line. Like I put on pause moving to another country potentially, but that's back on the plate now. Now that I'm not going to have as much stuff, I'm like, if I'm going to set up and do something different, why not do it really different? Because the last 4 years have been unstable with repeating energy. So we shall see. More to come. Now let's go into the elements. So briefly, we'll look at fire, earth, air, and water, which comprise all 12 signs. So everybody can get a quick update on what's going on. And I'm going to use the same deck here. I appreciate you saying it's all good, but it actually is challenging for me. It's not great for myself or my business or anything, but I have to take care of health. Health is number one, and I'm learning that. All right, tuning into the elements. Let's see what's coming through for fire, earth, air, and water. Okay, we'll start off with the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Queen of Wands energy in the reverse position. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, listen to your instincts. The Queen of Wands is one of the most creative, intuitive, and innovative cards, but sometimes she questions her abilities. Don't. Listen to yourself. As I'm looking at the hair with like these ears that are bigger than life, it's saying you are tuned in, but you're doubting it for some reason. The whole energy around blocks, right? Where you're feeling like this isn't going to happen, this isn't working, or the disappointment that I saw in the middle of the week with the Three of Swords. You can think your way through this. You are innovation personified. That's what this card is. And it's fire for fire. So you've got this week, but you have to trust your instincts. You'll know when it's right. You'll know when it's not. You'll also come up with some new ideas. Trust, listen, and lean into that. And if you feel blocked, this card is Spirit saying, you're not. Let it go and just imagine a different path or different way. Hares and rabbits can take a leap of faith, but something might be holding you back from taking that leap of faith, probably fear. Don't be afraid. Take a calculated leap when it makes sense to you. The Queen of Wands also is great at leadership, boss energy, basically. This is a time where if you are holding back, don't. If you want to be an entrepreneur, please do. If you're giving advice and it's not being listened to, stop. Leave the door open, but know when another person isn't open to receive, or they are taking it as you kind of like being a helicopter, mom, dad, boss, person, friend, whatever. And so ease off a little bit and use that energy of leadership for yourself. So whenever I get a king or queen or an emperor or empress reversed, it's saying you might be spending too much time trying to fix everyone else's life rather than your own. So be the boss of yourself, innovate yourself and think yourself through this challenge. Step into entrepreneurial energy this week, lead by example, embody that which you believe, because this is all about walking the walk, not talking the talk. People will be inspired by your actions, by your persona, by your accountability. Okay? Perfect. So that's for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now let's go from fire to earth. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn should be good because we are in Taurus season here. We do have an interesting card here with the Five of Wands. So the fifth wand is in the background, and he's kind of using it like bow and arrow. So you could kind of like get wrapped up in everyone else's concerns, business, etc. Or you could step aside and focus on building something or doing something for yourself. I think there could be some challenges this week at work or in family situations where there's competition, where people are comparing you to others, etc. There may be a lack of leadership, but you can rise above because if you remember for the weekly, we had two great cards of leadership. A card of leadership. We had 4 of Wands, 6 of Wands, and 8 of Wands. It's a nice progression. This is a distraction. You're just coming out of the great partnership energy ostensibly from the beginning of the week. So Monday, there's a lot going on. I think this could pair up with what we saw in the middle of the week where other people are competing. But remember, you're poised for success, and there's a lot of other people that you can connect to and trust. We want to lean into that energy and don't let a few naysayers or a few sort of like moments where there's a lack of leadership or clarity take you out of your power, okay? Avoid competition, avoid unnecessary conflict, rise up, rise above, lead by example, kind of like what we were seeing with the previous card. And then we have a very sort of Sagittarian energy here. Some of you might have that in your rising or moon, but it's saying, let me focus. Let me get out of this and focus on that. And then once you target that, you're going to feel like, okay, I can breathe, I can see what the next thing is. But there are some challenges in sort of like partnerships this week. Don't fight, hold space, lead, ask questions, don't take the bait. That will help you, okay? You've got this. Just keep your feet on the ground and don't let your heart get in the way of kind of like this logic and momentum that we saw in the week ahead. All right, moving on to the air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. We have the moon card coming through, but in the reverse position. Old fears, old patterns, old energies coming to the surface. There is a path, though, that's sort of like aligning to you, but you have to work through the old energetic karma and emotional karma from the past. There may be someone in your life that shows their true colors, might be trying to pull one over on you, or they may be lacking accountability. They say they're going to show up and they don't. Ask why it's happening. Give them the benefit of the doubt, but if it's a systemic thing, if it happens time and again, don't put any more time and energy into that for now. And for yourself, just be real. Be real with yourself, be real with others, be honest, stay accountable, and listen to those emotions. Go to the source of the emotions. A lot of times, the fear, the anger, the frustration, it's just how the emotion, or it's how the energy is expressing itself. But what causes it is what matters. Are you angry because of the fact that something keeps happening again and again? Are you afraid because something might change and you're more comfortable with the same old, same old? It can be either side of the coin, but just kind of getting to why it's happening, why you feel that way. That's where the work needs to be done, not just on like a bandage on the emotion. And that's kind of what I'm getting here, is go deeper to the source and look beyond the sort of moment and look at the pattern. Why is the pattern repeating, right? Okay. Good messages there. Going on to water, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. It's already happened. It's happening. So we have the blasted oak, which is the tower. The card is reversed. And when the tower shows up, you really just need to lean into it and pay attention to what's going on. A reverse tower does offer a little bit more flexibility and influence. So the way I read reverse towers are as follows. Like, you can see something coming. I mentioned we can actually see the lightning in the background. It just struck the tree and this person's falling. So lightning flashing, first warning. We usually get it here or here. We get a flash of intuition, right? Rumbling of thunder. Sometimes we hear something clairaudiently or from someone, or we pay attention to environmental cues. We see it, we hear it, then the rumble creates movement on the ground, even before the Tower happens. So then we feel it in our bones. And we see that coming through on Fridays. I shouldn't do this, or I need to do something different right now. So listen to the 3 signs of the Tower: the flash of intuition, the sound of logic, the sound logic, the feeling in your bones. Towers are avoidable or transmutable. So if you don't avoid the Tower, by the time you're feeling it in your bones, then this reversal is still possible. And you're just like, I'm going to take action now. I feel it. Because if you don't, eventually lightning's going to strike the tree, and you're then going to be a part of this. So you've gotten up to 3 warnings. You need to heed whatever warning comes through this week and make the change. Okay, now let's focus on special topic for today. Let's focus on the new moon. What opportunities are coming through for the collective that we need to be paying attention to? All right, I'm switching things up here, and for the catalyst, we're going to do the 2 of Swords in the reverse position, just because I wanted to do a regular tarot card. So 2 of Swords is showing that sometimes there's a third path, and what worked in the past, what worked for others, there may be something else that's presented to you. So there's also sometimes just the ability to say no to 2 options that don't work out for you. We don't always have to choose the lesser evil, because that actually, you can infer from that they're both poor choices, right? So the devil, still a devil. You don't have to take that path. The lesser evil, still evil. Let's try something else. Maybe there's a third path. Maybe there's an option that was unexplored. And this is inviting you to look beyond the sort of like historical path that you've taken or that's been laid out for you. And it's also an inquisitive card. You can ask a question like, what else can I do? Or how is this? Like, you can also ask, why are we not exploring this? There's always a chance for that, right? The other thing with the 2 of Swords in reverse is to keep an open heart and open mind when something is presented. So that's also a great piece of insight with this. And it's saying the answer lies within, which might have been today's message. I think what you're looking for is already within you. So that's a very powerful message. The love, the stability, the validation, it's all coming from within, not from exterior sources, right? So all of that is coming forth. Now let's take a look at what's coming, how everything's arranged, I should say here. All right. I need to move this because it's off a little bit. All right. So as we're looking at the deck here, I like that we have a card that's showing beyond your wildest dreams with the well. So more on that in a moment. We have change and movement in hope, spheres, and opportunities. And most of the cards are manageable. There's no devil, there's no 10 of swords. So it does feel like by and large, you are going to be able to turn new leaves and move in a new position. Okay, so let's focus on the well at the center. This would come after the world. And I pulled this for a daily this week. The well in the reverse position is saying, for some of us, we've buried deeply something that we forgot. A dream, a gift, a wish, a thought. And in this new moon, it's saying, let's go within the well of possibilities and something that you had initially thought, I can't do this because of X, Y, or Z. Maybe it's like, going back to school or starting your own business or, whatever your sort of like dream is. It's not a pipe dream. It's still a goal. It's still within reach. This is saying, I need to let it flow. I need to let it come back to the surface. And the well is also about going deeper in your life. Some of you might be tired of surface opportunities, of things that might be kind of like presenting themselves on the surface. So if that's happening for you, take a deep breath and say, where do I feel a deeper sense of belonging, a deeper sense of creativity, just in general, this sort of depth and connection that might not be present right now. So this is one of the ways that you can turn a new page, is just saying, I don't have time for surface or shallow people, opportunities, or engagements. I need something with some teeth, with some depth. Queen of Cups on top of that, showing that where your passion is, so is your power, so is your productivity. And this is a great time for you to really let that part of you bubble forth, right? Let's see. This is also highly sensitive, highly creative, highly intuitive. So all of those things are going to help you in this moment in time. So maybe doing something, it doesn't have to be school, work, etc. This can be something just for you. Cooking is a form of creativity, right? We don't always think of that, but cooking is an art form, the culinary arts, right? Home improvement, that's a creative aspect of yourself. Creating something just for yourself, whether it's artwork, music, it doesn't even have to be shared. Just the fact that you're allowing yourself to connect and create, that will open up synchronicities, open up your heart, and help things bubble up. It's not an accident that we have two water energies at the center, the well followed by the Queen of Cups. Let me look at what's coming through in the deep past and we'll talk more. So I mentioned when I have a king or queen or an emperor or empress in the reverse position, especially since it's in the karmic position here of the deep past, it is time to spend less on others and more on you. Less time, less worry, less money, less boss energy, and focus more on arranging things in your life, creating things that matter for you. This is the moment for you to shine, for you to grow, for you to get the support that you deserve. This is maternal energy, so for some of you, maybe there's nobody that does that for you. You might be the parent, the teacher, the mentor for multiple people in your life, and it's like, I need some of that for me. So either find the mentor, the parent, the maternal energy, or be it for yourself. And this is going to help you get from like 70% charged to 100%. And you're going to be able to do so much more as a result, okay? Reclamation of power, but also the understanding that the power was never gone. So Emperor and Empress by default are power cards. When it's reversed, it's just saying the expenditure of it could have created the illusion that you lost your power or you're exhausted, but it's always been there, waiting to bubble up from beneath the surface, okay? So this is just a chance for you to reclaim. And many of you may be tired of being told what to do. It doesn't matter what age or what stage of life you're in, there comes a moment where it's like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I know that if I had to go back to a traditional 9-to-5 or a corporate job, I wouldn't be on board anymore with it. I I couldn't do the meetings about nothing. I couldn't do the overtime because of other people's poor time management. There would just be a point where I would be not engaged. So some of you might be there and thinking, I need to have more say, more control, more autonomy. So it's either more of a leadership role or something different that you're steering the ship for, okay? So in this new moon, you can plant a seed of intention for more independence and the ability to have more influence on whatever it is that you're doing, okay? All right, moving onward here to recent past. Some of you have done the work on learning how to use your voice, when to use your voice, being willing and ready to speak up a little bit more often. Good for you. Keep up with that, more of the same. This is also a chance for you to say, if there's something that I need or I want, why don't I just say it? You never know what's possible until you articulate it. So in the week that is coming through here ahead of us, don't be afraid to share an opinion or an idea like, hey, what about this? Or I want this, or how about that? Positioning that question out there is valuable, and sometimes you get what you want, which is amazing, okay? To that end here, we have a Knight of Pentacles, which might also be elaborating on what is missing or what is needed. So in the upright position, a Knight of Pentacles would be connecting with an opportunity, leading it, bringing it forward, fighting for what they care about. In the reverse position, they may be trying to gather more resources because there may not be enough time, energy, support, or interest. So this Knight might be trying to get people on board. So this can be someone whose responsibility it is to say, can we count on you? It's like fundraising, marketing. Hey, your energy makes a difference. So communicating value is what you need to be focusing on in the week ahead, and not being afraid to ask. Because again, not only might you get what you want, you might get more than what you expected. And sometimes people don't realize that their support matters. So communicating that in a way that isn't overly transactional or marketing, but like really we depend on you. It's kind of like what's happened to public broadcasting because it's not funded. So it's like now it's viewer supported. And it really every vote counts, and you can't depend on grants or anything anymore. So when that's conveyed, people really feel like they're making a difference. So let people understand and realize that if you like this, you need to be a part of it. So some of you might be involved in fundraising or getting a loan or getting people to commit, like, can I count on you to show up for this? Get the signature, get the commitment. And that's part of it this week. So the Knight is fighting for clarity and confirmation and maybe a signature on the dotted line. Okay? All right. Now we have the Hermit. And it's the Hermit reversed. So you have more wisdom, you have more power, you have more insight than maybe you realize or other people have had a chance to see. But the Hermit always holds the star, and you can see it in the lantern. And in this moment, you're going to step out of Hermit phase and into the star phase. And you are still everything that's comprised within this. Wisdom, experience, knowledge. But now you're going to be asked to shine a little bit more, coming out of your shell, the Hermit shell. There may also be opportunities for you to seek out new teachers, new wisdom, new experiences, because you're kind of like the constant learner. And that's great. But Spirit is also saying you have more than enough knowledge in this moment to sort of like get through the moment, okay? Don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to show people just how much is coming through. Okay, I need more to drink, and then we're going to talk about you in this moment. The Page of Pentacles in the reverse position is partnering up with the Knight of Pentacles. And this is about communicating your value. So the Knight is communicating the larger value for a project, an idea, a group. But this is you, and it's communication because it's a page, and it's value. And that's what we've got going through here. I'm worth it. And if somebody can't meet you at your value, then you might be looking for a place, an energy, an environment where that value is not just received and appreciated, but reciprocated. So what you can do here is ask yourself why you're in a place where it isn't reciprocated, and ask yourself where you're going to go to receive that reciprocation. This can absolutely relate to a relationship. If you're giving but not receiving, it's not equal. It's not always 50-50, but it should even out, average over time, right? So setting goals, expectations, wants, needs, desires, that's a part of this, but also in a negotiation saying, we're close, but I'm worth more because of this, this, and this. Let's talk. Let's get there. Let's make this happen. Okay? And there may be some compromise, but you should get a portion of what you're requesting, right? And I think back to job negotiations, which, again, it's so hard sometimes that we have to fight for our worth when clearly we have experience, and people try. It's a lot of times they're just seeing how inexpensively they can get someone. So sometimes you have to go to bat for yourself and say, we're close, we're almost there, but I require this. And sometimes you have to get to the last and final, best and final. So don't be afraid to do that. You can do it in a relationship too. This is what I need from you. Maybe for some people it's starting a family, or it's marriage commitment, or it's I need to know that exclusivity. There's so many different things that you could be requesting here. Whatever you're looking for, let the partner know, hold some space, send out the request, and know that you will know if they are ready for that. And if not, if it's the devil energy that we saw in the weekly 7-day sort of pull, then just say, okay, thank you, I'm glad. Don't push them. Don't force your hand. The devil comes through to protect you. That wasn't the right path, not the right job, not the right apartment, not the right person, not the right place. It's okay to get rejected. It's not a reflection of you. It might be a reflection of the thing that you're trying to connect with. We don't look at it that way often enough, do we? Okay, in the environment, the Ace of Swords in the reverse position. Okay, so swift action is necessary. Revision might also be necessary. Be mindful of short communication. Sometimes things get misconstrued, but it is important to act, speak, and create movement in a more in a more swift way than you're used to. So be open to all of that. Also, nothing's written in stone just yet. There is a chance to make a one last revision. So I do feel like this is a good week for negotiations. Okay, so also, when I think of aces, it goes both ways. Someone might be asking you a critical question or offering constructive criticism. So you can listen and just say, I'll think about that, thanks. Or thanks for sharing. Full stop. We don't have to react to it. Then come back after you've had a chance to think about it. But you can ask a question, they can ask a question, you can offer feedback, they can offer feedback. Sometimes it's better to sit with it. Okay? As we look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, one step towards your goal, one step at a time. I love this Fool because it has a little bit of Mary Poppins energy, like the parasol that he's holding with the firmament inside. I just feel like he can make a soft landing. We know that there's some sort of a difference between that step and where he needs to go. It could be a steep cliff, it could be just a few steps, but he's going to be all right because he just has that little knapsack or satchel by him. He has his trusty Apollo, who's now off camera a little bit. Hey, buddy, where are you? He's hiding. He's like, Dad, leave me alone. So we have that sort of energy coming through with this. And it's saying one step at a time, one moment at a time. So don't get ahead of yourself too much. We can overcomplicate things. In fact, we often do overcomplicate things. And so in this moment in time, try not to do that. Allow yourself to take one step and know that you're going to be able to sort this out, have some fun, and one step at a time, folks. All right, the other thing that's coming through for this is, if not now, then when it comes to movement, change, and opportunity knocking. It feels like it's safe to make that next leap of faith. It just might be a little bit scary for some of you. So first day in a new job, first time getting back into a relationship, making a big move like I've been talking about. but it feels like there's a soft landing here, okay? One thing that I've also noticed after years of reading, the Fool carries with him a white rose. The other place that we see a white flower is on the Death card. So ends and beginnings. Something ended, but something fun, something inviting, something new is knocking at the door. All of your Pentacles cards and really power cards today were reversed, except the King of Swords. So we have here the Queen of Pentacles, kind of like rounding out the trifecta, Knight, Page, Queen. Queens are great, though, because they are developmental, leadership, and birthing sort of energy. So the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse position is like chrysalis or cocooning energy. She's working on herself. She's working on something big, and it's close to birthing. It's close to delivery. And I feel like you're closer than you think. So I do think by week's end, by this time next week, whatever it is that you need to move on, release, announce, or do, it's time. So you have a week. And anytime this week, particularly when we were looking at the favorable cards like Monday and Tuesday or next Sunday, it looks like those are great days to pull the trigger if you want to, right? So overall, I like this. And let's just take a pause for a moment and look at some of these big messages, because it's about turning a new page. So what can we close a chapter on? We can close a chapter on trying to fix everyone, trying to lead everyone. We can close a chapter on muting our light because you're carrying that lantern that wants to be seen. What is availing itself to you? The ability to speak up for yourself, to express your creativity. What do you really want to focus on in the week ahead? Value, worth, and personal development. Possibly working more on that for you. Like, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is how I'm going to do it. Really kind of stepping into the driver's seat, or pulling the reins if we're thinking of the chariot, and telling people this, like all of that. This is how it's going to get done. And that's going to establish you as a leader. Okay. All right. So let me see if there's anything else here that I want to talk about. No, I think we're going to start the expansion here. We're going to now take a look at the expanded forecast, looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we'll start off with health first, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. Okay. All right. So we have the Gaian Mudra here. And it reads, there is no beginning and no end to our connection. This is especially true for those of you that have lost someone in your life. It could be a parent, a friend, even a child. Whoever has gone into spirit, the connection continues. So we could read it at face value, and it's about the perseverance of the soul and the ability to continue to connect. But it's also about the fact that you can pick up where you left off with people that are still living that you've just grown apart from. So I had a great conversation the other day, like a text exchange with a best friend from high school. And I was like, gosh, no time has passed. When we do that, it's like the old days. We don't talk that often, maybe a few times a year, but when we do, the connection's still very much there. And when you meet a soulmate from another lifetime, the same is true. It's like, oh yeah, hello, old friend, I remember you. And it feels natural. The constructs that we put on stuff, it's very much a human invention. So this is encouraging you to basically look beyond that and know that people, opportunities, and synchronicities come and go at just the right times, okay? This is also about your connection to source. It's always there. It's sometimes just inviting you to connect in. And because we're looking at health here, one of the things that you could do a little bit more of is yoga or meditation. This is very much what would be a part of yoga and meditation. Okay? For anybody that's having any technical issues with the, don't worry about it. We'll just, even if the target isn't showing up, I'll still read it. Sometimes there's technical glitches. Don't worry about it. Okay. Because if there's too much chatter, it takes me out of my focus. All right. Focusing on health. A couple of notes here for health. It might be time to get your eyes or ears checked because we have the Two of Swords. It might be time for a second opinion because someone might not be listening to you. Okay. Other things that we're seeing here. A change of environment, getting outside, getting some fresh air. The Hermit in reverse is kind of like being inside too much, stale air, not enough change, not enough stimulation. So I think that could be very good in this moment. The Fool invites you to take a walk. All of these page cards in reverse, working too much, focusing too much on things that are sort of stressing you out. Please try to ease up on that. And then when it comes to treating yourself, you don't want to overdo it, whether it's a lot of times it's like what you're eating or drinking, but it can even just be sleeping too much. Anything in excess is still in excess. We have a lot of maternal cards here. Empress reversed twice. Some of you might be having difficulties getting pregnant, might be late in the pregnancy, like a little overdue, or unexpectedly pregnant. Lots of pregnancy messages. The rest of you, it's just time to take care of yourself. Nurture and love yourselves. All right? Now let's move on to wealth, resources, life purpose, and career. And this one is connecting with the energy of what we saw, like the reverse of the Devil card, which I think would be all of these power cards that we're seeing, all the court cards. So, because we have the chains being broken, and on a traditional Devil card, there are chains. So forgiving yourself, forgiving others, but also releasing the chains of control. And we have the butterfly on the other side of this. Now, with forgiveness brings freedom. This is interesting because sometimes it's hard. Like, I don't think this has as much to do with like current jobs as it does with past experiences. So the daily read was the Five of Pentacles. It can be a parent, a teacher, a loved one that said you weren't enough. You can forgive them for their lack of imagination, for their own sort of experiences or teaching that might have led them to say or do that. But on some levels, just forgive yourself for listening or taking it to heart too much. And I think that's a valuable lesson for all of us, is like, I don't have to, in retrospect, I made too big a deal of that, and I gave that person too much time and energy. So I think the big forgiveness here is really just in that category. All right. So I want to think about how to look at the energy of wealth. I don't always like to break it down into all the categories because I feel like it gets too prescriptive, but what I'm going to do is hold the one up for all of those sort of categories. So let me see. I'm just going to leave this up with the same marker. But for those of you that might be currently employed, it's never too late. I'm looking at this from a very intuitive way of interpreting it. I'm just going to look at the chains and the word forgiveness. So if you're currently employed and you feel stuck, it's never too late to explore a new path, to go back to school, to allow yourself to create some sort of new opportunity or pathway that wasn't there before. So all that matters is this moment. Do what you will with that, and you're not as stuck as you might think. You may have to take a path that takes a little bit longer to be accomplished, but it still may be worth it, okay? Moving onward to entrepreneurs. Being able to step into your power is liberation personified. So please, absolutely, go for it. This is your time to do it. But some of you are so used to people creating a path for you that you worry, can I do it? Yes, you can do it. You're your own boss. Be a good boss to yourself. Learn from your old bosses and change your habits. That's one reason, like I said, this month I was like, I have to take a break. I'm going to need a lozenge in a second, but energetically, physically, intellectually, we all need breaks. So take care of yourself, give yourself time to recalibrate, and then move into something new. And if you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up. If you're looking for work right now, make sure that you don't overcommit and that you don't give away too much. There may not be a lot of choices. I realize that. If you get into something where it's too limiting or you're not getting enough, see it as a transitional thing. See it as like a place to hop to, but it's not your destination. It's just a stop along the way. For those of you that are learning right now, we can be a student at any age and any phase. Free yourself to explore a path that was never presented to you by parents, by society, by yourself. Really ask yourself, if time, energy, money, expectations weren't a limit, what would I do? Remember what I said, Mean Girls, there's no limit. So look beyond the limit that was imposed and try something different in your path to education. For retirees, don't forget that in this moment, you're free to do what you want to do. You worked hard for this moment. enjoy it, and use your time and energy wisely. Don't get wrapped up in other people's chains, expectations, etc. Okay? I wanted to take a different approach on that just because it's good to experiment. All right, let's look at love and relationships. All right, for love and relationships, we have an encouragement here that you can and will find eventual success. But it might take a little bit more time than you expect. Breathe into that. Give yourself the time and energy required for that, okay? Now let's look at this one. I will break this one down into a few different parts. If you are partnered up, the most difficult thing to do in this moment is sometimes communicate what's on your mind. You may be also feeling like you're not being seen or appreciated. So let your partner know that it's important to get that feedback. Also make sure that you're giving feedback and that you're giving positive as well as constructive criticism, because otherwise it just comes off the wrong way. Coming out of your shell, stepping into the leadership role, some of you might be taking a more communicative, or what's the best word for this? Yeah, it's just a little bit more forward than your partner may be used to. So just communicate why that this is important right now. So it's being assertive. That's the word that I'm looking for. Sometimes assertive is misinterpreted as aggression, but it can just be saying like, I want this or I need this, which I think is very empowering. Okay. What I like about this spread is there's a lot of love and there is the ability to communicate your way through this. There are a lot of other people here. So bigger family, bigger community, bigger obligations in front of you. So make sure that you're making time for each other, stepping away from all of that and enjoying each other's presence from time to time. Okay. If you're looking for love, there's a lot of options on the table. Not everyone is going to be immediately coming towards you. You might have to start the conversation. There might be someone that is intimidated by your light, by your presence, by your wisdom, or they're just shy. So don't be afraid to ask. We don't always have to wait for love to come to us. And because there's a lot of earth here coming through, so you may be meeting an earth sign, or you might just be looking for someone that's really grounded. Continue to do some of the grounding yourself since these cards were reversed. And grounding can include meditation, cleaning up your own sort of karma, your finances, your house, your affairs. That's going to help in a big way, okay? And you deserve to be happy. And I do feel like you can find that, but first do the inner work on this. Lots and lots of earth though, almost in all of the and there's an Aquarius here as well. So mostly earth and Aquarius as I'm looking towards the future leaning cards. For those that are single and happy, good for you. It's a great time for travel. It's a great time to launch something new. It's a perfect time for personal development. And overall, this creative energy really wants to bubble up at the center, so lean into that. All right, I'm going to grab a lozenge, and then we're going to take a look at the final category here before we look at a bonus portion, which is destiny. Okay, so for destiny, I don't know why this isn't working. For destiny, here it is. We have the flamingo spirit. So let me get a lozenge and then we'll talk about this. Okay. Embrace the in-between. This is all about liminal spaces. So liminal, just a fancy word for in-between. You may be one step in and one step out of something. The Fool can often represent that. And so what you're trying to navigate right now is, how do I get comfortable with that in between? You stay focused on why you're doing what you're doing. You honor the experience that has taught you everything that it has taught you up until this point. And you try to get creative. This Queen of Cups is really helping you with that. Anything that you're starting, anything new especially, is sometimes messy. But this card shows you you're going to land on your feet eventually. Even if there's a stumble, even if there's a delay. Remember I talked about the Six of Swords delay in I think it was the elemental forecast. Movement's still going to happen, just maybe not in the exact way, shape, or form that you initially thought and saw. And then the other thing here is just saying thank you for the lessons, thank you for the experience in front of me, knowing that there's a rhyme and there's a reason and there's a season for everything. All right, I'm going to take this out because I can't talk with it too much. But then we're going to do a quick review here of the new moon, and I'm going to expand this into probably spirit-led because it looks like for some reason the target isn't working for all of you. Okay. So one more time. This is a period during which the unexpected wants to present itself. You have the ability to call upon your deep wisdom and step out of the sort of comfort zone and try something new. The liminal space message really resonates with the Fool, which we just talked about. So knowing that you're not always going to perfectly step into something or perfectly land it, but eventually you will land on your feet, that helps you. That helps you kind of like give yourself space. Like in any sort of performance, there's a rehearsal, a dress rehearsal. A big part of life is just, it's a dress rehearsal. We have moments where everything goes the way that we think it will, but most of life is a dress rehearsal. So don't panic if it doesn't go perfectly. It's more about recovery. It's more about showing up. It's more about not stopping. That perseverance will pay off. The forgiveness piece is key. Forgive yourself, love yourself, value yourself, and then connect with people, places, and experiences that do the same. Feels like it's a good moon overall, guys, and a good week as well. So I like what I see. All right. Now, again, people are saying maybe that the target isn't working, so I'm just going to trust in that and say thank you for everybody that gave back. We won't worry about it. It's technology. Let me select a deck, and we're going to look at a bonus section today. And I feel called just to look at what needs to be, whatever needs to come through. So we're going to do that kind of a reading here, okay? All right. What I'd like to look at is what you are afraid to ask. So I'd like you, everybody that's watching, to go into a fear or an anxiety. It's not a comfort zone, but that's why we need to look at it. What are you most afraid of? And how can you work through it? And why is it presenting itself? Because we saw the moon show up a few times, moon reversed. I want to understand what the fears are. By the way, for those that just joined and said like it's their first time, welcome. I'm here every single time, every weekend the same time. So put a calendar reminder and you can see me this time every week. Would love to have those of you that are new come back. So every Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, unless there's something amazing happening or unexpected happening. All right, so overcome any obstacle. So whatever the fear is, this card is basically coming through to help you release it. It is going to be okay. And I like that we have a sort of like tough exterior, tough skin, thick skin. So one of the things here is just to kind of like take it with a grain of salt and say, all right, been through this, done that before. As we look at the deep past and what's affecting karmically this moment, we have the Five of Swords. There may have been some moment in time where someone kind of like made you think something that wasn't true, gaslighting or condescending or just not really listening to you. So one of the reasons that this is coming through again is it's like, I want to be listened to. I want to be valued and trusted and believed. And it is your time to do that. This was just one person, right? There's an illusion that you're going in the wrong direction, that it's taking too long. It's taking exactly as long as it needs to. You might not have been ready the first time. So it's coming around again. There's another opening. And this time you're invited to take it. You never know how many times the door opens, but it's opening now. So really just focus on the opportunity in front of you, not a could have, would have, or should have. We have the moon. And so what the moon is showing here is you're able this time to go in and release or capture or understand whatever that energy was that seemed elusive, that seemed untenable, unobtainable. You can now kind of go in there and say, I've got this. But you have to dig deeply. This is what I talked about earlier, and go to the source of it. Because what's on the surface isn't really showing all of the other reasons that it's here, right now. And what's the one step that you can do today to make a difference? Honesty, integrity, and follow through. The reversed Seven of Swords is basically saying, I'm not going to fall into old patterns of either connecting with people in my life that tried to, trick me, or just they didn't lead with honesty. And I'm also not going to commit to something unless I'm truly ready. So be accountable, connect with other accountable people, be honest, have integrity, and these sorts of things are going to help you through it. This is the 7 and the 5 are basically connected to devil energy. So remembering what I've said multiple times today, which is there is no limit, or the limit is, or the rejection is a form of protection. So whatever door might have closed, it was so that you could walk through another one that was open. And it's trying to get you to go in that direction. Okay? All right. What needs to be healed? That's what I want to know. We're going to go for the deep questions today. Single card, what needs to be healed? Oh my God, with the 5 of Swords. Let's go to a different deck here for this one. Well, I should just stick with this one. All right, why do we keep getting 5 of Swords energy? All right, so I feel like some of you might have put up with someone in your life because you preferred to have the company of someone, even if there were times where they didn't listen. Maybe they said something that was cruel, or they just talked over you. I feel like there's a chance to release someone who just doesn't have what it takes to be there the way that you need them to be there. This can also be family members. You don't have to cut them out, but you don't have to include them in everything. So having really, really strong boundaries, and maybe just investing less. When we look at this beautiful interpretation of the 5 of Swords, that I love crows and I love corvidae, but like this crow or raven is just squawking in his ear, and he's like, oh my God, here we go again. This can be someone who's comparing you to someone else. Oh, why can't you be more like this person or that person? Or you're not enough, and they make you feel like you're less than. And it's just this constant kind of chipping away. Again, it can be a parent, it can be a teacher, it can be a boss, it can be your neighbor. Anybody can play this role, but we don't need to listen to them anymore. Also, there's nothing that you can do that can make them happy. It's never enough for some people. And they're not worth the energy, even if sometimes it's better to not have that and to hold space for someone who sees you, appreciates you, and is unconditional, or at least much more empathetic and understanding in the way that they communicate with you. This can also be the inner saboteur coming through. And we can tell ourselves, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you're not educated enough, you're not young or old enough, you're not blank enough. Let's dismiss that voice permanently if possible, because it's really not helpful. Instead, ask yourself, what if you're enough? Why aren't you enough? You're enough. Goodbye. Goodbye, 5 of Swords. Nicholas is tired of pulling it. We're tired of seeing it. It's just old chatter. It just needs to be cleared. The hard drive needs to be reprogrammed, needs to be reformatted, okay? I really feel like it's that. It's just an old conversation that's ricocheting in your head. What is coming through as an opportunity? Fantastic. Here we go with the Four of Wands. How can you recognize it? Wow. And we've had both of these cards coming through. So the Four of Wands in the reverse position. Friendship, allyship, love, and a deepening of an existing relationship. Any of these things could be part of the Four of Wands. You could also be setting the stage for that to come through. The reversal of this is saying just because it hasn't shown up doesn't mean that A, you're not worthy or ready, or B, that it isn't incoming. It's just not here yet. Why are we having a hard time seeing it? Because it's not exactly the way that you thought it would be. You might have thought that by this age or this time in life that you'd have something, or maybe the person, if you're trying to call in love, you thought that they would be from a certain place or a certain age or look a certain way, and your partner's showing up differently. So different can be good, but you're not going to see that blessing unless you open yourself up to say, well, all right, what if this is going to be just fine? What if this is better than I anticipated? What if it's not here now, but when it comes here, it's going to be worth every moment of waiting? This kind of reminds me of, is it 16 Candles? With the candle scene at the end where it's her and Jake kind of like blowing out. She's like, I got my wish. So sometimes you get your wish, but you have to go through a wild set of adventures to get there. So give yourself the time and the space and don't give up. Don't give up hope that something can happen. It just might not have showed up yet. Or there's something where you think, I'm not ready, I'm not worthy, but you actually are, okay? Movie's slightly problematic, but anyone that grew up in the 80s remembers it. Okay, let me see here. What do you need to see in this moment in time that we haven't yet discussed? Okay, this kind of aligns with my rubber band thing at the beginning, because typically the Two of Pentacles has a rubber band on it. Here we have these two hairs not very effectively fighting. It reminds me of some of the comedic fights where you see people just like throwing hands but not throwing punches. I feel like there's something in front of you where it's just that. Someone's trying to like either pull you between two decisions, squeeze blood from a turnip, or they're fighting with you, but it's like just a waste of breath and energy. So we need to spend our energy better and our time better and our resources better. Budget, have boundaries, and take a deep breath. You've got this. I'm not afraid of these two hairs. They're just creating chatter. It's like two little kids fighting in the corner. It's like, come on, guys, cut it out. And it feels like there's some things where you can do the same to real people, not just two little kids or two dogs fighting. It's just like, it's just riled up energy, and you don't need to engage with that. Do take care of yourself and know when enough is enough, and do observe limits and attempt to not overextend yourself. Very much in alignment with the channel messages, okay? Thank you for the Kate Bush reference. I know a lot of her back catalog, but I haven't heard Rubber Band Girl, so I'm going to look at that. So thank you. I always enjoy a song reference. You guys know that. I'm constantly quoting them. All right. Normally I do this after the meditation, but let's do it now since I've got everything. I'd like you to think of a free question, a final card that you have that you like. What is it that you need advice on? Nothing that I've led. You think about it for a second. Really focus on it, form it. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and let's let spirit come through. Wow. Okay. Why don't we clarify the Tower? Perfect. Okay. This came through for one of the elemental trifecta of signs, but now everybody's going to benefit from this. And I talked at great length about Towers reversed. So change is underway. Forgiveness has been thematically present quite a bit this reading. So rather than beating yourself up and thinking, here we go again, why? Ask yourself, what am I going to do different this time? What did I learn? How can I change? How can I improve this? How can I lean into the change in front of me? This little squirrel is more prepared than he thinks. He's stored up some resources. His tree may be gone, but he stored away all of those little acorns and nuts for a rainy day just like this. So some of you might just be accessing that security blanket, that safety net, that rainy day fund. Many of you might also just be realizing, I need to not fly so much by the seat of my pants. This situation is teaching me to create more safety for myself. And maybe you're looking at a situation and thinking, I thought it was stronger. I thought it was stronger than this. There's a Tori Amos song, Caught in a Light Sneeze, where she talks about a relationship as a building tumbling down. And this is what a tower is. It can be a place that you're living, a job that you're working at, a relationship that you're also working in, trying to make it work. And sometimes it doesn't have the foundation. And it's okay, because you realize that wasn't as big as I thought. That was just a little distraction, okay? So this is intense, but it's not as big as it seems for those of you that are going through a tower. If you ask a yes or a no, it's a no. The tower in reverse is an easy no. The reason is the time isn't right, or you're not ready, or it doesn't have the foundation. There's a better opportunity. And I clarified it with the Wheel of Fortune. Something better awaits you. The best is yet to come, something far better than whatever has transitioned out of your life. So it feels like it's a loss of a person, place, or a thing, or a combination thereof, yet what awaits you is better. And the wheel keeps turning. Wheel in the sky keeps on turning, like Journey says. So there are times when the tide is high and low, when there's a lot or a little, but resources are not fixed. They're also just physical things. We don't take the resources with us. So let's not give them any more weight than they need. In a spiritual sense, it's all nothing. It's just an illusion. It is a fascinating thing when you look at, in this present moment, how there's such a disparity. There are people that have so much, and then there are people that are just struggling to have enough. And there are people that have way less than enough. There's no real middle class anymore. So what we want to do is, I think one of the things in this next part of humanity is to support each other. What we do have is community. What we do have is our own sort of ability to land on our feet, think of new things, be resourceful. And we want to find places where we are supported, we are held up. So I feel like that's what you want to put the focus on, because there's so many other things that kind of like sap the energy out. You really want to find a place where you feel like you matter, you are appreciated, and your time and energy is reciprocated. So seek out more things like that. And I think that that's important, because when you look at the movie Ghost, and Patrick Swayze is moving into the light, he says, you take the love, you take the memories with you. And he's right. You also take the lessons. So lessons, love, and memories. Memories, we kind of forget them so that we can kind of work through all of the karma, but they do come back, and we do meet soul partners from life to life. And you're like, I don't know why, but I know you, and this is going to be great. But money and titles and quote unquote success, it's just a 3D thing. So when you see more or less of that, it's like, that doesn't matter. Our richness is in soul, is in love, is in health, is in experiences, and the impact that you make and the legacy that you leave. That's where the richness, where the riches are. No amount of money can buy that, and no lack of money can define it. So maybe that helps some of you today. Okay, let's look at Apollo, and then we're going to wrap up. And we'll do a meditation next. He's sleeping. All right, so let's meditate quickly, and then we will wrap up for today. And I appreciate everybody's presence today. Take a deep breath, a couple of deep breaths, actually. Let go, sigh it all out, whatever you might be holding on to. We already read the final card, so I'm going to take off that reminder, but we are meditating now. So a couple of deep breaths, and then see yourself in a place that feels safe. I'm kind of guided to go with an ocean meditation today. We don't do that often, but it feels right for today. So imagine that you are seated at the beach, your feet firmly placed on the sand, or maybe you could just imagine that you're laying on a blanket in the sand. You can feel the warmth and radiance of the sunlight that has warmed up each and every grain of sand beneath you. You feel the rays of sunshine above you, connecting to the 7 chakras, clearing out old karma, old fears, old energies, and lighting you up almost like a gigantic billion-watt bulb. From the tips of your toes to the top of your head, your energy is clear, clean, and illuminating. I'd like you to focus on one thing that you'd like to breathe light into and life into. See it as already being done. It's not a wish, it's just a point on a timeline that you're waiting to catch up to. Imagine that today, it's almost like the map, the end point, that point on the horizon has been presented to yourself. Now it's just a matter of mapping out the best path for yourself. It's not a question of if, simply when and how. It's already done. And what if you could get there with greater ease, support, and resources than you might imagine? What if it's better than you anticipated? What if there's more than what you see? We're not shown the full path because we're invited to exercise free will, have joy, surprise, and all of the gamut of emotions so that we can grow. We know exactly what we need to allow us to grow, but we don't know or see everything. We see just enough and know just enough, and trust in that. Breathe one last breath and gently open your eyes and trust and know that you are enough. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. Thank you for your patience as I'm, like I said, just kind of moving through some changes in formats and living situations and all of that. It'll all even out, but this is a period of change for me as well. A reminder, I don't send it out often, but when there is big news or something important, I do have a newsletter, so sign up for that if you haven't done that in a minute. You can also go to my website, from which you can give back through PayPal if you'd like, or join me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms. And you can also book a private reading there if you'd like to. But right here, right now, just simply liking and subscribing is more than enough, and just being present is much appreciated. Thank you guys for the time, the energy, and your sort of support. I appreciate it. I'd like to take a couple moments here to express gratitude and just kind of recognize everybody. So give me a second. All right, so let's take a couple moments here and thank everybody who showed up today and gave back with super stickers and super chats. And the reason, by the way, that sometimes it won't show up in the target is I think you have to hit the target for it to count. So it doesn't matter. I trust that it all came through. So give me just a second here for fan funding. And I'm going to call out everybody that gave back. All right. Jamie, good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for being a member, for your comments, for your weekly support. I appreciate you. Piscean Fire, thank you so much for being a very long time member and for gifting 5 memberships to others. Just like I did at the beginning, it's a great way to expand the community and show some love and support. Blue Butterfly, good to see you. Thanks for the membership and the sticker. Welcome to everybody that got one from me as well. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, S. Lynn, for catching the live. I'm glad you got here as well. Thanks for being a longtime member. Created by Deanne, I see you. I appreciate your membership. I appreciate the sticker. Lauren H., thank you so much for your sticker. MPS Lehman, thank you so much for your sticker. I see you here every week. I appreciate it. Wonderbar, that's the first time I've seen that in a minute, but thank you so much for your sticker. Good to have you back here. Thank you, Eslyn, for also gifting 5 memberships as well as being a member and giving stickers. I appreciate all of that. Colleen, thank you so much for a really thoughtful donation there and sticker. I appreciate that. Let's see. Dila, is it? I think it is. DILASHAJAIN. Thank you so much. I'm just going to spell it out. Thank you so much for your sticker and for being a member. I appreciate you. Shelly, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for the sticker and membership. Casey and Bloom, welcome back. Good to have you. Shelly William, thank you again. Suzanne Vanderlaan, thank you so much for the sticker. Shelly, thank you again for the sticker and membership. And Suzanne, thank you for the membership as well. Wonderbar, thank you again. Much appreciated. Marta, thank you for your sticker. Let's see. Deepa, thank you very much for your sticker and for your membership. Casey and Bloom, thank you again for the multiple stickers today. Handel, thank you. So good to see you again. Taksumika. Yolanda, thank you very much for your sticker. Let's see. Phoebe, oh my goodness, thank you. Good to see you. Welcome back. I know you're a longtime member and you rejoined today. Handel, thank you again. And thanks again for being a member too. Phoebe, thank you for the multiple stickers today. Lori, thank you so much for the sticker. Much appreciated. Let's see. Brenna, thank you very much for the sticker and for the good luck on finding a new place. I do appreciate it. Alba, thank you for the sticker and for the membership. Christina, thank you for the sticker. Lynn, thanks for sharing 5 memberships with others. Kayla, thank you for your sticker, membership, and for the well wishes. Much appreciated. Christina, thanks for your sticker and for contributing a lot today. LLA224, thanks for the sticker and the membership. And then finally, Esmeralda, thank you so much for the sticker as well. And I think I got to everybody today. Thank you to Dakota for his help, as always, with moderating. Thanks for everybody for being patient. Like I said, today I had the brainstorm of doing just a mid-month every sign check-in in one video, and then we'll just focus on getting a briefer version of all the monthlies out before I move, and then we'll be flexible and see what the summer brings for all of us. From my heart to yours, and also little Apollo's. Oh, he's sleeping and he's moved. Thank you guys so much for being present today. Wishing you an amazing week ahead. Much love and light. Until next time. Bye-bye.